Okay, my name is Mo. I'm a systems administrator. I worked with virtualization for quite a long time. I worked for media and games sectors. Currently I'm working on VMware, so I used SaltStack as a tool for automation and orchestration to integrate it with VMware ESXi 6 to quickly provide custom VMs for the development teams. So initial problem was that there's a considerable amount of time involved to commission a VM and adjust it. We had to use something that uses CLI because the developers were against using GUI tools. They wanted something that they would access and change and manipulate quickly. So we decided to opt for SaltStack. These timescales that are given are approximate. That's the highlights before used to be about an hour, 40 minutes, an hour, 30 minutes for the preparation of a VM and delivering it to the developer. We managed to drop that to 600 seconds by using VMware templates and SaltStack profiles to actually create these VMs. So select a tool that's easy to implement, extensible, rewarding to learn, help provide rapid response that matches requirements, compatible with Ansible, but much more powerful. Well, Ansible is actually the tool that we use currently. Some of the developers use Ansible because it's easy, and SaltStack gives us the ability to translate the playbook recipes into Salt with ease because they both have the underlying Python tool sets that operate on both of them. So the steps were to capture a specification into templates, verify and confirm, translate it into virtual machine templates, link it to the SaltStack cloud profiles, and then build the actual VMs. Why Salt? Well, API compatible with VMware. The latest library is pyvmomi, which is very powerful and comes bolted with most of the Linux distribution. The ones that it's tested to be working fully is with CentOS, especially CentOS 6.6. Ubuntu works as well. The library does not come with it, you have to get it from GitHub. But pyvmomi is the most recent one, and there used to be an older one called pysphere. Pysphere is still active in certain tools that rely on Python, but it would not work with ESXi fully. Active community, we have a very good support from Mr. Nitin Maddock from the Salt community, who helped us out in the deployment and solved a lot of the technical issues with the deployment of SaltStack. Documentation, Salt tend to be very good. They have the Salt book, which is one of the most organized documents around. We found it to be very, very helpful, and we basically relied on it a lot. Versatility, we have the richness of Python, and the IT team were keen to actually learn it and expand it, so it was basically one tool that satisfies everything. So we've got the Salt structure, which is, in our case, we use multi-master. We haven't yet reached the syndicate level, but we might do that if our estate increases. Currently we have approximately 300 machines, 300 virtual machines on VMware ESXi 6. Salt Cloud is what we use to integrate with VMware. And Salt Cloud has several steps for it to work. So you need to update the actual VM where you're going to install the Salt Master, whether it's CentOS or Ubuntu. So we tend to use CentOS. And we install the Python pip and the pyvmomi, as well as obviously installing SaltStack and the libraries such as zlib, bzib, and OpenSSL, and the others that I've listed here. It's essential to know that the Salt Cloud will always have to be installed via yum or apt, and not using pip. We've found that there are compatibility issues if you try to install it by pip. That's the actual structure that we have with virtual machines. So we've got the that's on the Salt Master. and then it connects to the actual either ESXi or the VMware vCenter, which will interpret the calls. So again, the Salt master, and you got with pyvmomi and pysphere libraries, and it connects to the actual ESXi hosts there. The standard Salt files are within SRV Salt, and the ones for the clouds are etc Salt cloud. You've got cloud providers and cloud profiles. Cloud provider is the one that specifies the connection to the VMware vCenter or the ESXi host, and the cloud profiles is the specification for each virtual machine. That's the kind of structure that we have. So we've got the cloud profiles and cloud providers. You've got the VMware.conf, which sits inside the cloud providers, and that's basically where you have to specify the user name and login details for the vCenter or the ESXi host, and then the cloud profiles, where you actually specify the VM. You have a link to that file, and from that you can actually direct the build of the actual VM. That's the kind of syntax that you see there. So you've got the user, and in our case we have a specific user via VMware that has restricted access rights, because that's intended to be for the developer teams. Sure.
Just for the benefit of some people.
Is that fine?
Can you read it? No.
I think the best thing is I think it's to do with the. Is that better? Okay. Well, we'll provide the slides anyway, so everybody can actually have a copy of it and you can see it for yourselves. But generally, you can see from there the provider vCenter 6, and you see it over there, the provider. That's the link. So this particular part is the VMware.conf, which is in cloud providers, and that one there is in cloud profiles. And you can see that one there, the specification for the actual VM, and how it links to that one via the vCenter 6 tag here, provider. And it executes the actual specification there. And with VMware, currently you can only clone from a template. You cannot, so far you can't actually build by just providing an ISO and a specification. And that's available, I mean, even through their APIs, it is actually the case that you can only clone. And you can see here the actual details. Then Salt will actually use the login to the created VM to actually populate it and put the Salt minion, install it. Okay. Yeah. So let's just have a look. Adapter, clone from the. Okay. Let me just. Just the. I think that needs a bit of zooming. Just a presentation of what actually happens to the Salt master and how the tag links it, and then you execute. This is the actual command used to build the actual VM. These are the actual keys that I pass through to it. And it's here highlights. So they got the provider and you got the clone from. whatever the ISO is in the specification. I put some extra useful commands that I've used in the past. You can chain the creation of several VMs if you wish, several profiles at the same time. Yep. Yeah, sure. Sorry about that. Yeah. So I've got the further details there. It's important that with the VMs on VMware, you have to install VMware tools. Without that, you will not be able to get a working network adapter. Here are some instructions, especially on CentOS, that you need to make some changes to the etc udev rules 70 to include the VMXnet 3, which is a particular driver for VMware. That's the latest driver for VMware. And then the VMware tools have to be enabled. That's on the golden image that you're going to be cloning from. Okay. So, yeah. So the same thing, dependencies for both for CentOS 6 and 7, and also for Ubuntu 14.04. These are the particular OSs that I've trialed with and I created VMs from. Okay, thanks very much. Okay.
Question?
When you're building your VMware-based images, are you pre-provisioning them with some kind of image builder, like Packer or something?
No. So I have the images, create the images, and then after that, just make sure that it's within the correct resource pool for ESXi 6. And when you create the profile, you make sure you specify the resource pool and the actual location, and it will clone from it. So it's literally just VMware and SaltStack, nothing else.
They wouldn't go that direction.
I don't need to. I mean, the developers were very happy for it to be like that. So we just, have the control user with limited access rights to the particular ESXi cluster, and then we just use SaltStack straight away. Okay.
Are you able to put multiple VMs in a VM list, or is it do you have one VM group?
We did do that in the past, but there was no need for it.
Sorry, the multiple VMs or one?
We used single VMs. We didn't find that the VApp route was suitable for us, so we didn't take it. Yeah. We did use that back then with vRealize, or VCAC as it used to be called. Yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry.
Good. Cool. Thank you.